Salutations, everyone. No, I don't worship the devil. I'm just gaming on another level. Welcome back to the channel. I'm your host, Demonic Angel, as always, and here we are with another DC Dark Legion video. Today, I want to delve into a topic that I've been kind of struggling with in this game, and maybe you have too if you're anything like me. But in these type of vital games where you get a whole bunch of gear, and you can min-max, you get your regular gear here. But then we have something to augment our damage and effects as well with these legacy pieces. And yesterday I was working on my
Deathstroke is here.
Deathstroke. I was about to say Deadshot.
So bring the body
working on my Deathstroke, and wow, that sounds funny. And as I was doing so, I was looking at the stats like here. So my attack is 7693, right? With all this gear I have on, a couple 500 pieces. I transmuted this one, and I need some better pieces here. Whatever. I do plan on pulling for him more. I only got him at 3 blue stars, and I keep hearing you gotta have him at least at like 1 purple star to make him viable. Got a little force invested into him. Not much left, but that's all I got for now. But anyway, that's not the point of the video. The point of the video is these here, these legacy pieces. So normally I had what they had recommended on him, which was this here. Let's go. We'll deal with that other stuff later. For him, oh my god, I'm not ready for this.
Deathstroke is here.
So what they have recommended for him is the gas Derringer, right? So there's other mythical pieces he could be using as well. He has his own unique pieces, the dual katanas, which I don't have, but they say put the gas Derringer on him. So like let's do that, right? Let's say we put the gas Derringer on him. But currently his attack is 7693, and that's with this legacy mythic piece. But this also has a special effect: increases crit rate by 8%. Upon casting the ultimate, there's a 50% chance to inflict severe wound on the target for 8 seconds, and severe wound reduces healing received by 10%, which I think is vital for Deathstroke, because he gets in the way his kit works. He gets into the back line of the defense, and he attacks the person with the highest, on auto mode anyway. He attacks the person with the highest attack. So let's say they got a Joker back there going crazy, or a Constantine. He's going to go do massive damage to that individual. Meanwhile, that person will not be able to receive as much healing as they would to keep them alive longer. So it actually helps with his kit tremendously. But let's say we change, right? Don't forget the number, 7693. We change to this color. I'm not sure if this mythic, epic, whatever, but it's this color, right? 7693 was the number before. I didn't want to do that. We want to change it. Replace 7693. So it dropped down, and we lose the extra effect. So that's not a good piece to pick. There's another one that has the same similar stats. This here. They all have attack, and crit damage. But this one has increases crit rate by 8%. Upon casting the ultimate, gains Analyze Vulnerability. Analyze Vulnerability increases crit damage for 12%, by 12% for 8 seconds. So this one you get a little bit more damage. This one helps you get rid of the enemy more efficiently. This one helps you with more damage. So we can use all of these pieces on the character, right? And each piece, even though those 3 in particular that I just showed, the gas Derringer, the T-Spear, Weakness Analyzer, and the Tectonic Disruptor, they all have the same stats: attack, crit damage, just different values. So let's say we wanted to put something else on them. Would the Dart with Poison Ivy work for Deathstroke? This increases Spiritual Pin. So you're losing. You'll help him use his ultimate more, but you're losing this added benefit to another character that could more effectively use this particular piece, because it increases spiritual penetration by 10%. None of Deathstroke's moves require spiritual penetration, so this would be a wasted effect that you can use on someone else. I currently have it equipped to Black Adam, as you see, because he does spiritual damage, and he can benefit from that. So then you got something like Plastic Explosive, attack, and spiritual amp. Again, that spiritual amp wouldn't benefit Deathstroke because he doesn't do spiritual damage. And to figure that out, we go to the champion, we look at his moves, and you click on it. Physical damage, right here. Next skill, gain 6% attack, Next skill, physical damage. Next skill, more HP. And his passive, he gets HP in championship jobs. So both of his attack moves, along with his auto attack, do physical damage. So any gear that you put on him should augment his his physical damage. Spiritual damage will not be used by him at all. So using any type of item that has spiritual benefits to it won't work. So we got this here. So now this gives accuracy, attack, and accuracy. Now, this could work, but none of his moves have like an added status effect or any type of debuff. And that's what accuracy is primarily used for. I believe it's here. Click on it, should give you, increases the hit rate of your physical attacks. So this works. You know, and if the person you're going against has high dodge or any amount of dodge, this would help negate that dodge mechanic. So when you have teams, and I believe Deathstroke has something in his kit that, yeah, this helps with dodge. So increases all champions' HP by 2% and assassins, which there aren't many assassins just yet. Champions dodge by 2% applies globally. But the higher you level it up, obviously, the bigger the value becomes. So like, can we go to max value? I don't think so, because this is mine. I'd have to go here to this thing here, the collection.
Deathstroke is here.
So it goes to 5% both. 5% HP and 5% increase the dodge for all assassins. I'm nowhere near getting him there. Like that's not even a realistic goal of mine. The point is, different legacy pieces have different effects on the character, and you want to maximize that particular character's kit to increase the effectiveness of that particular hero or villain. So if you want to try one of the purple ones, I don't remember what the name of the rarities are. I think it's like legendary, epic, and mythic probably. I think legendary is purple. Whatever. This is his specific one to him, which we don't have, so I'm not even going to entertain it. But clearly, this would be the best for Deathstroke. Each character would be different. You know, like this one's specifically for him. Activated when equipped by Deathstroke. No one else gets this benefit. Upon defeating an enemy with the ultimate, gains Funeral for 10 seconds, restoring 10% of max HP. His Funeral increases attack by 20%, so it makes Deathstroke even stronger, just by having that piece on. Let's see, so we have a legacy piece. This is attack and crit rate. A low added amount of attack. This is mainly for the crit rate. So if there's a character that has a high crit damage percentage, you might want to look to throw the Lawton rifle scope on him to augment that damage. I'm not sure what the thresholds are in terms of crit rate to crit damage ratio, but typically in most games you want to have at least 50% crit rate and whatever amount of crit damage, just so you can have like a balanced effect and it'd be most effective. This again, completely all attack. So we remember the first piece we had on him was the Tectonic Disruptor, and his attack score value was 7693. So let's say we put this legendary piece on him that's got 50% attack, 50 points of attack, and 29% attack percent. Let's put that on him. Let's see what happens. It was 7693 with the Tectonic. So now he's at 8690. So I think in situations where you're doing an Umbral Rift or a combat cycle boss where you're trying to get as much damage as possible, you would want to have gear on specific to that event. So I would think to do one of those, I would put like a legendary piece on, because you get a higher value of attack. And you don't really need the extra abilities such as this. Severe wound on a target. This wouldn't help, because you normally can't debuff a boss, for the most part anyway. But like severe wound, revealing, heal, and receive, if I'm fighting the drowned, there's no one for the drowned to heal, or to heal the drowned. So that would be a wasted effect. And at that point, it would make way more sense to put in a piece like this that has a higher attack value, because you're doing more attack towards the target, than to have something, even though it's a higher rarity, is not being utilized to its full capability, because those extra abilities here increases crit damage. Now this one might work, but this one is specifically, the Tectonic Disruptor, wouldn't work against like the drowned. But in PvP, this would be perfect because you can get rid of the backline or any other missions that allow for 5v5 combat, or to have an enemy in the back that you can attack that doesn't get healed. Well, that does get healed, because that's when that piece would be the best for you. Pardon me, let's just get rid of... Alright, let's go back to what we're doing. Alright, so that's Deathstroke, right? My thoughts on him.
Is here.
I feel like
So bring the body back.
Clearly his specific item is best for him. I don't have the Imp Doll. They just added Nightwing's legacy piece. You got Sinestro, which I will be pulling for as well. And this is for Constantine, which we don't have on this server. I'm on server 221. Fairly new. This server started on launch global, which is like late March, whatever. And still playing. So I'll be pull some more for this guy, Deathstroke, and then we're going right into Sinestro, which was just released today. So I think given what I'm able to use on Deathstroke, I would probably go with either this one or this one in most of the PvP game modes, because that will allow me to benefit from this extra stats right here, these extra abilities, as opposed to fighting someone on like combat cycle or what was the other thing that I said? I'm sorry about that. Umbral Rift. Where you want just raw damage. I think that's what you want to do. So let's go to Superman.
I am Superman.
You know what?
I've got this.
Yeah, let's do Superman. And then we'll do an intriguing one, right? So we got decent gear on Superman. And I got his mythic piece. And you can tell because one, it's there, and two, he actually has a different effect. Like I think the normal cape doesn't have the glowing S. Regardless, let's look at the stats and the effects. So activated when equipped by Superman cape. Anyone from these classes can use these things. Just because it's specific to Superman doesn't mean that other warriors and defenders can't use it. It's just more effective if Superman uses it. So he gets 400 plus attack. He gets 12% of attack as well. And then he also gets 18% of crit damage. Now that's kind of questionable because he doesn't have crit rate in his kit. So I don't understand why he has a piece that gives him crit damage. Maybe there's some type of team composition you can put together that will give him crit rate. But I thought that was a questionable choice to give him crit damage, and he doesn't have any crit rate in his kit. But that's just my own observation. So let's go into the piece itself. Kryptonian Protection, level 1. You can level these up by using more of these little eyes here, which I'm trying to save to get another legacy piece. Increases physical penetration by 10% before casting a skill, gains 1 stack of 3% attack up. Stackable up to 6 times. So basically it's going to make Superman hit harder because he does all physical damage. You know this, he punches everything. I don't think he does any spiritual damage with the other moves, like either the heat vision or the breath. So the breath, Feast Breath, gives physical. The heat vision, physical. He gets more defense, and his ultimate is physical damage. Yeah, so he does all physical damage. So for him to have something that increases physical penetration, and if you don't know what physical penetration is, come back here, click on this, increases physical damage dealt. So clearly he needs stuff that will help him increase physical damage, because that's the type of damage he deals. And then he also has It Means Hope. At the start of the battle, increases defense and mental, I believe that one's for, by 1% per second up to a maximum of 30%. So defense and mental, I believe that's physical defense. Let's see exactly what it is. Defense reduces physical damage taken, and mental reduces spiritual damage taken. So basically it helps his defense from both types of damage in the game, physical and spiritual. So it doesn't matter if you're going against a Bane or a Sinestro, it will help him sustain his life a lot longer. But those are the items, abilities that happen with this particular cape here. Let's say we wanted to change it. Wouldn't be in the best decisions to actually make, but we're going to just do it for the entertainment purposes. If we wanted to put, okay, and then remember, this gives him attack, and crit damage. So we're not really worried about the crit damage because he can't even utilize that, which is strange. But it gives him attack, and it's at 1929 now. So let's say we want to change something, and clearly you want Superman to hit as hard as humanly possible. This gives him 29% attack. The other piece gave him 12% attack. So even if we have this legendary mythic that's specific to Superman, and we change it, because it's currently at 1929, we change it to a legendary piece, it goes to 2429, extra like 500 points, 400 and some change, whatever. We're not doing math here. But again, in modes where you're doing things such as Combat Cycle and Umbral Rift, where you're looking for raw damage, you may want to switch your character's gear for that particular mode to be granted the highest output of damage that you could potentially put out. Let's say you wanted to put this on. You wouldn't want to use this on Superman for those particular modes because you're trying to do damage, and these don't augment his damage. They help his viability, his survivability, by helping him with more HP and more defense and crit damage resist, which clearly would benefit Superman much more than crit damage, but I digress. I'm not going to keep harping on that fact. You wouldn't want to use this for something like Umbral Rift or Combat Cycle, where you're trying to do all damage. That'll help you survive, but it's not going to help you with putting any damage out. Again, here's another piece. We're at 2400 attack with this legacy, this legendary legacy piece. Good lord. 2429, right? So let's say we put the duplication mirror on, which gives 13% attack. It also gives you increases attack by 6%. Upon taking a melee attack, increases damage reduction by 12% for 8 seconds. Cooldown is 12 seconds. So every 12 seconds, it increases his attack by 6% every time he gets hit by a melee. And it also increases his damage reduction by 12%. So it makes him more tanky for 8 seconds. And this happens every 12 seconds. So this would help in like a PvP setting. Maybe that's a nice video to run too. Which gear to use per mode? Let's do it. So this might be good for like PvP because it'll help him. It gives him more strength. Now he won't get the raw damage output because clearly he's at 2429 now with this legacy legendary piece. But if we go here and give him this one, 2429 was the other one, his attack goes down, but this is about survivability. But this particular piece here, you want to be able to last longer. And also with Superman specifically, one of his moves allows him, the longer the fight goes on, the stronger he gets. Superman defense, now is it this one? No, I don't think it's that one. So Superman soars in space, gaining 1 permanent stack of solar energy before dealing physical damage equals 925% of attacks. Increases attack by 15%, stacking up 3 times. So this makes his attack go up. The longer the fight goes, the stronger he gets. This one helps normally, but yeah. So you want stuff. If you had to help with his survivability, he's going to get stronger the longer the fight goes on anyway. And in order to reach that potential of him getting stronger, you want him to survive on the field a little longer. So that a piece like that in particular, this duplication mirror, would help him reach that potential. So let's say we want to change and put something else on. Prometheus Claws. It's the same attack value, but it also gives crit resist. This increases attack by 8%. When HP drops below 50, gains a shield equal to 10% of max HP for 12 seconds. Can be triggered once per battle. So this is a one-time use, right? This particular ability here, this piece does give more HP, which will help with the size of the shield that you get, because the more HP you get a shield equivalent to 10% of that. So his HP currently is at 58,869. You'd get a shield that gives him 10% of that. So it's about 5,886 more health. So I don't know how many hits that will take to get him up out of there, but it gives him some survivability. And along with, this is the wrong piece. along with crit resist. So that also helps him survive a little bit longer because the enemy won't be able to do more damage towards him because it resists their crit attacks, which normally helps with the person's attacks towards them, the crit hits. Where we at? All right, so then let's go to like the epic pieces, right? The not so huge hammer. This gives, one of the things I forgot to mention is these mythic pieces, these red mythic pieces are going to be harder to level up and to have extra stars. So naturally, these ones such as the legendary purples and the epic yellows are going to have higher star values because they're easier to attain. The easier they are to attain, the more stars you'll get and the higher the stats you'll get. These may look good and ultimately you want as many stars on these red ones, but sometimes just the color alone doesn't necessarily mean they're the best option all the time. You may want to go down a tier to get more of an effect for your hero. So you got the not so huge hammer, right? This is going to help with some HP, give you some attack and some crit damage. Again, currently, if you have a team that has like maybe Batgirl up there, because I believe Batgirl helps with crit rate.
Batgirl, over and out.
Is it her? Increase Bat Family Champion's attack. Okay, not that. Is it this? At the start of the battle, all allies crit amp increases by 9% for 20 seconds. Batgirl gains 10 initial energy for each Bat Family ally present. So, crit amp. What is crit amp? Wrong thing. That's here. Crit amp, crit amp, crit amp. Where's crit amp? It's not even up here. Okay, what is that? I'm not certain. But she gives crit rate. Okay, here we go. Increasing their crit rate by 8% for 20%. 20 seconds, excuse me. So if you had her on a team, but that's still a low amount of crit. So it really makes no sense as to why they give Superman crit damage if he's not going to crit.
I am Superman. I've got this.
All right, I'm gonna leave that alone. Anyway, it's bothering me that they're giving him pieces with crit damage, or giving him access to pieces that give crit damage. This you're gonna end up wanting to have on him to survive a little longer. Again, Superman naturally gets stronger as the fight goes on. This gives him, you get some crit rate here, but then you lose the crit damage part. Does he have crit damage inherently in his kit? He does not as well. So it's really strange. I'm not certain what's the place of crit in this game just yet. With certain heroes anyway. Obviously some heroes do crit and crit damage. So something like this would probably give him the highest amount of attack. This is all HP. I have it on Adam because it helps him survive longer, which I want him to do, because if you know the way his kit works, once he uses his ultimate once, it's over. Like it's over for him. He's no longer on the battlefield. So I want him to be on the battlefield as long as possible, doing the damage that he can do. And yeah, that's right now. Maybe I could put probably this on him. I probably should, because I actually use him more than Shazam. Yeah, but we'll worry about that later. So if we want just straight up attack on Superman, this will probably be the best piece. 24-29. But and again, that's be specific to the game mode. If you're playing something like Umbral Rift or Combat Cycle, or if they come up with some other modes that just rely purely on damage and not so much CC or status effects or debuffs and buffs, you just want crit damage. I mean, you just want straight up damage. You want to go with maybe a lower tier of an item. Now, if you have this starred up, then clearly these values would be higher, and it'd be more of the right choice to make to have these particular pieces over a similarly starred other legacy piece. So if I had a 1-star purple Superman cape, there's no way in the world I would consider using this purple star not so huge hammer for the same effect. But this gives HP, but you get a different attack percentage up here, which is, thank you, that one's at 19% because it's 1 purple star. If this is at 1 purple star, you can best believe this would not be 12%. It would be over 19%. And then you definitely want to take that. So that's Superman. Let's go over one more hero and try to figure out their kit and best piece for that particular person. Joker.
Oh, I can do it. It'll be a scream.
No, I love that. All right, so I'm using Mind Control Hat on Joker, and it's probably not the best piece to use for him, but it gives attack, percent, and effect accuracy, right? So, effect accuracy, do we have this here? We do. Increases the base chance of inflicting debuffs. Joker is all about debuffs towards the enemy. This detonates a bomb with a base chance. Anything with a chance to do something, that's a debuff. Base chance of 50% to inflict 2 stacks of Joker Venom. Joker Venom for 20 seconds, right? I don't know what Joker Venom is, but we do get something in the Force that allows us to help with the cooldown of that particular move. This next move by Joker's Spiritual Amp increases by 15%. Each of his attacks has a 50% base chance to inflict 1 stack of Joker Venom. Again, inflicted another debuff. His ultimate inflicts Joker Venom. And then it spreads. Again, debuff. So with this particular item here, let's just go back to the last thing. This gives him 1 stack of attack up. Okay, that's not that. And increases attack and champion's attack. Cool. So he got 3 attacks that he's able to inflict some sort of debuff on the enemy. And this particular piece here gives him attack, and effect accuracy. Increases attack by 10%. It also gives him more attack. Before casting the ultimate, increases Spiritual Amp by 10% for 8 seconds. Spiritual Amp increases the range of your spiritual damage. So he's a spiritual damage dealer. We know that by looking at his kit. Spiritual damage. Over here, we got Spiritual Amp. That's not a damage move. Spiritual damage for his ultimate. And we saw these just gives him attack, and this gives him attack too, as well. So you got 2 attacks that do spiritual damage. So you want some type of item, some legacy piece that augments his attack. Gives him attack percent, effect accuracy. I feel like this is the best. If you don't have his specific legacy piece, you want to go with this. But let's look at other options for Joker specifically, right? So a lot of people say to use this, modified Joker Venom. I won't say people, but the game, I think they... Because I don't ever want to look like I'm coming at somebody. That's never my goal. This is community. We working together. I don't have the answers. I'm going through this shit with y'all.
Oh, I can do it. It'll be a scream.
I'm looking at the wrong damn thing. So where is it? No. Oh my God! Come on, get it together. It's not the collection. I just went here. Let's go to that person.
Oh, I can do it.
Here.
It'll be a scream.
So it says use full scepter, which is his specific one, or the energy. Okay, so this is probably more practical because if you don't have a mythic legacy piece, it's easier to obtain an epic piece. But I've seen recommendations throughout online that say you should probably use the modified Joker Venom. And then, it has his name in the actual item. So, like, why would this be a bad particular pick? So, it's not. I'm not saying it's bad at all. So, this gives attack percent, and spiritual amp. And we already know spiritual amp increases the range of your spiritual damage. So, this increases effect accuracy by the ability to inflict your debuff on the enemy. Upon casting the ultimate, increases attack by 6%, up to 18%. So this happens a few times, right? And his attack goes up 18%, so he gets stronger. It increases his ability to debuff someone, and it also increases the range by 13%. So the ability to inflict your debuff is 8% here. 350, 13%. What he has currently, 350, 13%. It was 8% of effect accuracy, and this gives you 10% of spiritual amp and 10% of extra attack. So this one, I didn't mean to change that. So you get less effect accuracy here. You get 3% more spiritual amp here, and his attack goes up from potentially 18 8% from a base of 6%, where the base with the other one that's flat rate throughout the whole match is 10%. So if the match doesn't actually go, if he doesn't cast his ultimate 3 times within a match, you're not going to get to this 18% anyway. So let's say he does it just once. You're only going to get 6% attack increase, along with a decrease in effect accuracy, but you have a wider range. Range, I'm not too sure because he hits the whole battlefield anyway. So it really doesn't matter about the range, I don't think anyway. So I just think that's interesting, and it's all specific again to the game mode that you're playing. So let's say you just want straight up damage, right? Currently with the piece that this is the same values of attack, 68, 43. Now if we want to go with something with a higher attack, this gives energy bonus. This will help him cycle his ultimate more and gives him a flat rate of 50 points of bonus of attack, which isn't that good. This gives the same thing, and this helps healing. That isn't that good for him either. So the one they recommend is the energy mace. Gives attack percent, and effect accuracy. So the increased added ability to be able to inflict the debuffs on someone, 17%, which is higher than all this, 13%, and over here the effect accuracy is 8%. So this is the lowest of the 3. But again, we're looking for pure attack, 68-43 with this particular piece on. If we put the epic piece on, 68-43, we have 69-48. It really doesn't benefit you to use something like this. Now you get a higher chance to increase your debuff on an enemy, along with a slightly higher attack value, but you're missing the added benefit of something like increasing attack each time you use your ultimate, or something like this where it increases your spiritual imp, which is your range, and you get your increased attack as well. So Joker, I think, is really interesting because his pieces kind of do the same thing, they just have different values. Like this is the defensive piece. You don't want to put this on Joker. You want to get rid of your enemy as fast as possible. It does help with his survivability, but that's not what you want Joker on the field for. This is for a healer. Definitely you don't want Joker using that. This is for a support character. You don't want Joker using that. And this is for a healer as well, so they can cycle their ultimate more. I have this on Poison Ivy, obviously, and my healing I have on Mr. Hal Jordan here. But yeah, for attack, you want to stick with either mind control or modified Joker. So it's either do you want to be stronger later in the fight, or you want to get the fight over quicker and have a higher chance to debuff the enemy, because that's what his kit is all about. So this is just 3 heroes, 3 people that I just wanted to highlight and try to figure out, pretty much start a discussion as to what would be the best legacy piece per person.
So
I think
the body bags.
Without a doubt, you want to have a game mode in mind, and you don't want to just put something, you don't want to set it and forget it. Just put something on someone and just leave it on them and just be like, all right, well, that's on that character and let's leave it. No, sometimes you may want to change the gear depending on the game mode because it'll help you. It's a little tedious, but that's what these games are about. You want to be able to min-max your heroes and do as much damage and be as effective in your gameplay time as possible. That is my time with this video. I hope it was educational. I do not have all the answers. I'm looking to start an open discussion with everyone to try to figure out what is the best piece per character. If you'd like me to go over more character kits and talk about legacy pieces for them, I am more than happy to do so. I'm actually looking forward to it. I did come up with a idea video while talking about this one, so I'm going to try to explore that one as well. But it's been a pleasure. I hope this was informational for you. Hope you enjoyed it, and I look forward to seeing you in the next video. Thank y'all for tuning in, and I'll catch you later. Deuces.